Boomer shooters. That was a test. If you ducked, you're probably too old for this video. Because today, we're not hunting dads, we're hunting nightmares in Nightmare Reaper. A quote, retro-inspired FPS a la Doom, Quake, and all of those other figurative boomers of the video game industry. You know, the ones that came and went before you or I graduated from diapers. Lucky for us, the Doom reboot in 2016 seems to have inspired a wave of frenetic, blood-soaked indie boomer shooters like Dusk, Amid Evil, and yes, our friend here, Nightmare Reaper. So let's pop this game's pixels under the microscope and using our handy dandy scoring chart decide if old school really is the best school. When it comes to gameplay, Nightmare Reaper is less kill or be killed and more kill and be killed. Indeed, there are about as many enemies as there are weapons here, and both range from your standard action game affair, you know, zombies and swords, to things simply not of this earth. Add in 30 weapon modifiers, some of which crank the insanity up to ludicrous levels, which is an actual setting, and you'll be ready for violence the second your head hits the mattress. Thank you, Will Forte, for that surprisingly accurate live-action portrayal of Nightmare Reaper's gameplay loop. You see, each time you die, and you will die, you'll respawn in the waking world, albeit one none less nightmarish than in your dreams. So, you're telling me that Nightmare Reaper is part looter shooter, part roguelite, and part escape game? That's right, Mr. Walken, your ultimate goal here is escaping this insane asylum, starting with your room. Yeah, on second thought, I'm just gonna keep dreaming, at least I have guns in there. But before I do, let's not forget to upgrade our stats and unlock some abilities by beating some random minigames on this Game Boy Advance. Related side note, you can do this at any time, asleep or awake, and should you tire of this quirky feature, know that it can be disabled in the game's rather clunky menus. My last gameplay nugget of note here is that on completing one of Nightmare Reaper's 100 plus levels, you'll only be able to keep one weapon. The developer intent here was probably to force players to experiment with new ones, thereby keeping each run feeling fresh. But it actually had the opposite effect on me. I found myself much less likely to pick wild and weird weapons over the boring and practical ones that were ammo efficient. As a result, I spent most of my playthrough with the nail gun.
Hey Sam, let me shoot an apple off your head.
I don't have an apple on my head.
Nail gun!
In conclusion, Nightmare Reaper's frantic, visceral, and varied combat left me impressed. More so than did its simple non-combat mechanics, though the grappling hook is pretty fun. Meanwhile, Nightmare Reaper's UI is just okay, and the entire experience is decently playable. I didn't personally encounter any game-breaking bugs, and the load times here are hypersonic, but inconsistent difficulty spikes occasionally upset my flow. Though there are dozens of environments to explore in Nightmare Reaper, the gameplay here never really evolves, so things may stagnate for you around the 20-hour mark, if not before. Each map does contain an optional jumping puzzle or two, at the end of which awaits an RNG loot chest, and there are a few secrets scattered about that you'll receive a gold multiplier for finding. But outside of a funny Easter egg here and there, I remain neutral to Nightmare Reaper's world. I can't say the same for the game's bosses. You'll spend 5 to 10 minutes in each map flying across the place with guns blazing, ducking for cover before kicking stuff in the face with your energy legs, only to have all that momentum sucked dry by a giant bullet sponge of a boss that pumps out absurd levels of AoE and adds. Because these fights take place in open spaces absent cover, get ready to circle strafe like a broken bunny, hopping sideways until the health bar, or more likely your ammo, hits 0. And God forbid you get a flying boss. I already hated the flying enemies in this game because how can I aim up at you when you're two-dimensional? You know, I gotta chill, y'all. Hey, Nightmare Reaper. Play relaxing music.
No.
So yeah, remember all of those boomer shooters I mentioned earlier? 2 words, Andrew Hulsholt. Dude is a death metal Viking and incinerates every score he touches, Nightmare Reaper being no exception. So why the 4? Well, do you remember the, given the context here, very fittingly titled Doom song from Invader Zim? Yeah. Each song in Nightmare Reaper loops after about a minute and kicks on whenever you encounter an enemy, so by the time you clear a zone, you'll probably be begging for a new track no matter how good the last one was. Meanwhile, the sound design here earns high marks for nailing the guns, all of which sound great. But I feel less enthusiastic about Nightmare Reaper's blocky pixel art style. To me, most textures here are downright ugly and lack any real charm or the personalized touch necessary to stand out from run-of-the-mill Minecraft mods. Let's wrap up with a quick word on story. As noted earlier, you are a patient/inmate at a mysterious insane asylum. On completing a level in the nightmare world, you'll awake to a new text log from, presumably, your doctor, who slowly tells your sad, strange tale. This gimmick is mildly interesting, and I found the plot mysterious enough to remain intrigued. However, I'll be leaving the characters and dialogue micrometrics unscored, as there's too little of either to significantly impact play. In conclusion, Nightmare Reaper is more fun than it is frustrating and probably worth a look, especially if you're into shooters that go boom. After averaging up our micrometrics, Nightmare Reaper earns a slightly above average megascore of 3.08 out of 5. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.